Welcome everybody to OP Digital Blueprint Unveiling Success. And with us today we have a very special guest, Robin Noble. Say hello.
Hello. Hi, everybody out there. Hi, Andy. Hi, Collins. It's wonderful to be with both of you. This is really special.
We haven't finished yet. I'm sure you may think differently at the end of it, but that's no problem. Right, Colin, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here again with Robin and Andy. Hope you guys will really benefit of. We're just here to share, and we just hope what we do here will really encourage and inspire others. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Robin.
Well, Collins, so what we're going to talk about today now, there are many things going on in the background, but obviously the one thing that a lot of people are still concerned with is I can't pay. There's an extension to my OConnect. There's stuff going on in the background. What would you like to cover today, and what would you like to tell our viewers?
Yes, Andy, that's really a good question, and it's really good for us to start, this way, because I've received a lot of call, people seeing extension and they think like they have to pay again, so they don't even know what the extension is all about. They've not checked. Sometimes you ask yourself, maybe most of them are not plugged in, and people really, honestly, I don't know what is happening, but again, it's our place to come again and then try to educate others. So when we look at the extension, Ash doesn't want us to come off our pocket anymore, because they're doing a lot of work. They're doing a lot of work. And if it is not up to the point where they want us to be, it is difficult. And there are things that is beyond, the company controls. Not everything they control it. And there are things that they can control, things that, maybe will need compliance, it will need this, a lot of stuff. I'm not saying it's compliance, but there's a lot of things going behind, a lot of moving parts. So, and Tango, when I was thinking about OnPassive today, the first thing that came in my mind is about building a complex company like this. A complex product takes time. It's not one day, it's not 2 days, and it needs a lot of things. There was a time we had a webinar, and I asked someone, do you know that just to name something, it comes with compliance? Somebody said, I don't know that. I said, yeah, you don't know because you are not there. But to name a product comes with compliance, because you ask yourself, all right, how do I first name my company OnPassive? Will that name be offensive somewhere? How will people receive it? You start to think about all of those type of things before building the product. Even to name the product, you start to think about what type of name. Send lawyers to travel everywhere. We want to call it this name. How would they receive it? What does the name mean to their environment? There are names that maybe it's offensive, and I say, no, we can't accept type of products. It's like, you are just insulting us. So this type of thing, a lot of things must be taken into consideration when you are building products, naming the company from one step to the other. It takes time. And when you talk about time, besides before is someone who doesn't give up. He said, we'll either do it and do it and do it. Do it or die. It doesn't mean Mr. Ash will kill himself. No. He said, we will persevere. We are dedicated. We are dedicated to do this. And times come with dedication. If you are not dedicated, you cannot do what they are doing. And then patience too is the other thing. Time, dedication, and patience. When you commit, you must deliver. Else people will look at you and say, wow, you told us that you will do this and you can't. So all of these things, and it takes a lot of effort. Sometimes the complexity behind a solution is not easy. So it's easy to say than doing it. You can say, oh, I want this pen to move from A to B. Yes, it is easy to say it. But when you start to do the work, Andy, to start to push it, you start to look at the complexity. How do I make it to work this way? Like I'm sitting on a video conference now talking to you. What is the mechanism behind Andy hearing me? It takes a lot of effort, a lot of dedication. There's a lot of complexity, within, where a system can take a simple message, transmit it from one end to the other, and then you are seeing me visually. a lot of things. And talking about the single sign, all of those things really hard. And you're talking about people traveling, I said, people traveling night and day, working 24/7 round the clock. It takes dedication, because if they don't love what they are doing, some of them will give up. Remember, Miss Ash told us that, engineers, they'll onboard a lot of engineers. Some of them will just come and say, no, it's too much for me. I can't handle it. I've seen that live where, engineers come in and they say, no, you know what? It's too much for me. They give up and go, because they know they can get a simple, quiet job somewhere. I'm not saying that OnPassive is a startup and a new thing that have never been done before. It takes time. It's not one day, it's not 2 days, but we just need to be patient and then listen to our CEO. When they tell us stand here, let's stand. When they tell you go here, let's go. Let us be like a child where the parents are taken care of. When the mom said stand here, you see the child will stand waiting with the assurance that the mom can take care. Remember, Andy, when you have a little baby and the car is coming, the baby will run behind you, thinking that the dad will just hold the car. So that is the belief. We must believe in what we are in, knowing fully well that the company is working on our behalf and they are really there to bring something that mankind, not only the founders, but something that would transform the way people do business. And that's OnPassive. So I'll leave it there, Andy.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, everybody, that this picture that we've got for Robin is actually quite apt. I mean, look at that brain. That is phenomenal. And this is our brainiac Robin. What have you got to say for yourself?
Smooth talker, Andy. Smooth talker.
I know.
Collins, that was excellent. That really was excellent in terms of, how this is all going to evolve. I think I'm going to try and simplify it even a step more to help people in an everyday scenario. When you want to buy and purchase a house, and let's take it even more simple than that, when you want to build your own home, the steps that you have to take start with finding a location, finding the property to purchase, setting up the financing, finding the lawyers, the legal contact, the engineers, the city officials that you need to take the plans to. Everything has to be done and built according to regulation for where you live and where you're purchasing. As you go through, you find out that there are delays. Maybe you can't get all the materials. Maybe there's a holiday in there that was not accounted for. Maybe there's an illness in some of the engineer, the foreman, things like that. So there are delays that happen naturally. Now, it never takes 24 hours to go from finding your property to walking in your front door with a furnished home. You have to be realistic and understanding it's going to take a period of time. Minimum is months, and potentially it could take some years as well. So this is a very, very small scenario, but the first one that you do is the most complicated. It's the most challenging because you're learning all the steps, you're learning all the rules and regulations, you're learning what hoops you have to jump through to make it happen. Then, if you stay in the same area and the same location as what you've done with their first home once it's complete, then it's very simple to build a second one because you have the context, you know the steps you need to do. You may even have the opportunity to purchase more product in bulk because you know that you want to build another one. However, that's that location. But if you decide you want to go and build again, maybe in the Caribbean, in the islands, or in Europe, or let's go over to Southeast Asia. Again, you've got to learn from scratch the compliance, the legal issues, the building zones and what's allowed and what can happen, the monies, how much you've got to pay, what you purchase, who you can buy from. So all of this now becomes much more potentially complicated. But when it's something that you want to do, you don't think of it as complicated. You think of it as the natural process of getting to your end goal, which is ultimately owning homes in various countries that you may or may not have built from scratch yourself, but certainly purchased and renovated. So taking that analysis and putting it over top of OnPassive, understand that the OConnect, that we've been going through and the situation that's been happening with OConnect is to bring it to the conclusion of the first location, but it's doing that globally. If we were just one product in one location and one situation, I believe it may have been completed quite a while ago. But then you throw in, and Ash said this from the very, very beginning, he wanted to make sure that payments would go out to all founders, now founder affiliates, when everybody was able to receive. So one of those glitches that occurred, not through any fault of OnPassive, was the onboarding of financial platforms in September that had a different vision and a different understanding of what OnPassive is. And they, as Ash has explained, tried to do a bad turn on the company. So he's had to clarify all of that, clean that mess up, find the new ways, and reconnect and get everything else going to make it compatible, make it compliant, make it acceptable, make it possible in all the countries that OnPassive is in, and working with the governments that are also putting up their own flags, is this, and questioning the source of the money, questioning the amount of the money that's going to pass through into their countries. So it really is, at this point, in my opinion, a fairly simple request of Ash's to stay in the now, stay aware of what's going on, stay prepared for next steps, and help others to stay calm as well. Because there's nothing that we can do, nothing that by flying off the handle or getting worried or getting nervous about is going to change the situation that you're in now. Does that make sense?
It does indeed. It does indeed. I think also what a lot of people have got to take into consideration, we have been lucky enough to have OConnect since roughly April last year. So it's 10 months odd, which is quite considerable considering some of us have even paid as little as $93 for that total period of time. But we have an external system in place currently with the merchants, and as you quite rightly pointed out, we've had some issues with this external system, and the resolution of this has been not only to have to find another merchant, an alternative, but also to be able to scale that merchant up to be able to make and receive payments. Now, what would be worse of all is if we're in 200 odd countries around the globe and we can pay the US, the UK, and all of Europe, but we can't pay Australia, India, and Pakistan, etc. Now, can you imagine the potential issue that would create if that were the case? Now, the other thing you've got to take into consideration is places like Russia and China are on the embargo list. So it's not something that a merchant can deal with unless they have the correct license to do just that. So all of these people that are founders in Russia, because for us, borders don't count. Okay, that's a very important point. Borders do not count. We are all part of a massive family here, and we want to do this for the good of humanity. But you've got to consider where these people are. So all of these people in Russia, for instance, now I know they can't use a credit card because Visa and MasterCard don't work there. They're not allowed. They've been banned. So all of the people in Russia have been having dreadful trouble trying to make the relevant payments. Now, a lot of these guys are savvy and they've probably likely used cryptocurrency, or they might be expats, in which case they have bank accounts outside of Russia, and the same applies to China. So you've got this issue where you've got a merchant or merchants that have created a problem for the company, and that Ash and his team have been trying to sort this out, or have been sorting this out. But we now have new merchants in place that now have to ramp up to the potential figures that we're going to see. And what's actually happened is we've seen companies being held back from purchasing OConnect until it's correct, until the payment system is correct. I have no doubt whatsoever that the commercial release is ready to go. But you have to get the payment system sorted, and that's an external source currently. Now, I say currently because ultimately, what Mr. Mufara would love to do is to be able to make sure everything is in-house. The whole kit and caboodle is run and owned by OnPassive, including its own bank at some point. I have no doubt of that. And its own merchant system of sorts to be able to make sure that people can get paid. So all of these things are kind of being held back not by OnPassive but by a third party, and many people are getting frustrated and impatient about that fact. And I find that quite amusing, because nothing is stopped in the background. Everything is being improved and improved upon in the background before it's released. So the commercial release may well have been ready last month, but you don't see these guys sitting doing nothing. They're constantly adding new things, new bits, new add-ons, new technology. They're constantly working on the products that are probably sitting waiting to be released and ready to go. And then you've got to take into consideration things like compliance, as Collins mentioned. So you have this anti-money laundering regulation that's got to be adhered to. So again, the merchants are having to cover this issue because we don't have O-Verify in place right now. So once we have ramped up or scaled up this system where you can have 1 million payments coming in a day and 1 million payments going out a day, then we're ready. Now, we're not going to need to get to that stage before we go full on and before the company releases this commercial release. So don't panic before I start getting messages say, oh my god, what's going to happen? No. You know, it started with 100 being paid out, and then by the month, that was on the Thursday, by the Monday it was up to 10,000. By the end of the week it was probably 100,000. The key here is the scalability, and everything needs to be scaled up, and once it's got to that and it's free flow back in and out, everything will start to be released. So I have never been as excited as I am right now, because not only do we know that there are things going on in the background being worked on and products ready to go, but as soon as this tiny little hurdle has been overcome, the floodgates open. And I mean, they open, because guys, and I'll let Collins go on about the data scientists that we've taken on recently and what that actually means to us. But my understanding is that all of these guys are turning around and going, do you know what, Ash? We know that this product is going to take over the market and it'll go viral very quickly. Now, these guys are being paid an exorbitant amount of money in comparison to most of us. And this is the information that they know and understand. So, Collins, tell me a little bit more about data scientists. Why are they so important to our business?
Yeah, so Andy, before I even touch on to that, something came in my mind about you know, when you were talking and Robin also was speaking, it just came to my mind, which is good for, you know, everyone to understand this. You know, no company will build a product and keep it in the shelf, because remember, we're building software as a service. You know, you need to sell. So you want cash flow, right? Because it costs a lot of money to build all of these things. Sometimes founders don't really understand the amount of money that Mr. Ash Mufara and the team, they are shipping out. You know, remember, we have how many engineers, the employees? More than 1,000, and they're still recruiting more, as you said. They are living on monthly salary, and it is not cheap. You're talking about all the server, because if you go into Hyderabad or go to most of those offices, there are servers there. That's millions, cost millions to run it. You're talking about everything within the building, all the offices. You cannot turn around and say, oh, you know what? All the products I've built, I've not sold them. So please, I will owe you some monthly wages for 3 months. It will never happen. They'll tell you, bye, we're going. We're not there anymore. No matter how they are motivated, how they feed their family. So founders need to know that the first person who want to go to the market as soon as possible is Mr. Ash Mufara, not even us. Because all the money that is coming, you know, the expenses and everything is coming from where? From the CEO. So he is the first person. So sometimes when founders are worried, they say, look, the person who's supposed to work, because no, they're not asking me anything anymore. $97, activate all connect, done. This Ash have not come and say, you know what? Things are getting bad now. Let's put this product. Let's start to request for more money. Nothing. They even removed the payment, say, no, they've stopped. Don't pay anymore until we move. He would have said, you know what? Let's open it, continue to pay, put products out. But he said, no, that's not the end goal. That's not the dream of OnPassive. That's not why I built OnPassive. It's about humanity. I'm happy to take the cost. So why should we worry? For someone who is taking the cost, taking the pain, he should be the person to grumble and complain and say money is not coming in, because they need this money. If the money doesn't come in, there was a time I talk about it. I said this thing. I said, we are just founders affiliate, as Robin said. We are just 30%. The amount of people that will bring the income we are waiting for, they are 70% of them. Companies. They need this product more than us. They need video conferencing more than us. They are the one running meetings, concurrent meetings every day, 5, 6, 7 a day. And there are hundreds of millions of companies out there. Old staff, none of us will ever use old staff. None of us will ever use Okada. Let me call Okada because we'll use some of it, but only 30% will use it. Companies will also go for Academy because they need to give training to their employees. So most of these products will be used by companies, 70%. And that is the thing. That's when Mr. said, we are going to take the market of corporates coming in, because what? It is of high quality, so it is affordable. Every company wants to save money. That is why they will come into OnPassive. So I will not worry, because I know if the products are not attractive, no company will come. So I will give Mr. Ashmofara the time to do this, because I want longevity of OnPassive. That's what I'm waiting for. Now think about the data scientists, the top people that Mr. Ashmofara is hiring, the best of the best. These are people who have built things. They have the technical know-how. They have created, they are inventors, but they are not valued, because one way or the other, they will come up with an idea. Someone, because it's a guru somewhere, buy the idea, squash it, and that is it, because they never want new idea. Mr. Ashford said, come, we have a platform where your ideas, can grow. These people are top people. They are inventors. They have built businesses, and what happened? Everything collapsed. Not like collapse, but the greedy people out there, because they are rich, they'll buy it and then squash it. But now they have a platform where they can strive, where their ideas can grow, not because they want, they want to be rich, but they want to see their ideas. They are great inventors, where they want to create something, leave lasting legacy for mankind. And these are the type of people that are coming into OnPassive, looking at OnPassive and saying, yes, there's a platform where my ideas will be well received, and I can create something again to make people dream again. So I will leave it there, Andy.
Thanks, Collins. Thanks. I'm sure you would like to add to that, Robin.
Absolutely.
So take
Absolutely.
the floor, my love.
These are the sort of wonderful conversations that make us think, that help us to understand and expand our mindset and believe, if one doesn't already, where this is going with OnPassive. It is so amazing when you start to think just how much money. Look, let's be realistic here. Most of the people who joined OnPassive when it was made available to us did so because they were looking for something to assist them financially and their families. Many of the same founders who joined us at that time were employees or retired or unemployed or needing assistance financially in some way, shape, or form. And by the grace of God and friendships, we were introduced to OnPassive. Now, our lives have continued through the choices that were made prior to even knowing about OnPassive. how we have made choices since being part of OnPassive is where you can be equally as responsible for in terms of your mindset and what you know about the company. But the reminders are necessary when you think of the fact that Ash is paying for all of this himself. That takes a huge amount of money. That takes a huge amount of commitment and a huge belief in knowing that what one is doing and what he is doing for himself is what he wants to do and share with everybody else. Have you considered that Ash has actually built OnPassive in the same manner in which he would be using all of these products for himself? He's not given us a subpar copy of something that he would never touch. These are the products. This is the type of company that is Ash. This is what he was looking for when he was out there. This is what a portion of this is what he created in a very small way to help when he was involved in other businesses. And it wasn't good enough for him. It wasn't enough for him. He couldn't help other people advance. He stopped. He came back. And look what he's built. He's built a company that he believes in. He built a company that he visioned and created for, first of all, for himself. These are everything that he would want in a business if he was looking out there. So why is he going to do anything to cause stress or strife or lack in those who have trusted and joined the OnPassive opportunity here? And the fact that we got in early is also a testament to either our belief, our faith, our understanding of those who introduced us to it, but also to hearing what Ash's vision was all about. Now, the fact that it is taking this amount of time, again, go back to the previous webinars, go back to previous lives that have been discussing how long has it taken XYZ company to go from the garage to a $1 billion unicorn company. How many unicorn companies are there actually out there? How many companies have launched and started to the world with 1 million founders or 1 million people, customers out there? You'll find that list very, very short. So be respectful of the time it's taking, be respectful of our CEO and the executive team and the team leaders, and now these new incredible engineers that have been onboarded who've got the brains to be able to see into the future and to create for all of us that with items and projects and products that are going to enhance our lives, our health and well-being, those of the communities, those of the planet. I mean, this is huge, people. Do you realize just how much knowledge is coming to OnPassive? How much this is going to be able to, in turn, assist us? And most people only want to hear one thing is, yes, it will assist us financially. Now, once you get your head around the financials of all of this, hopefully the heart will start to kick in. And hopefully we will start to understand in a bigger and more kindred way of what is possible to assist other people, not just by giving them an envelope with money. In a conversation with some others the other day, I was reminded that we will be able to actually purchase a customer account for them, and we would be able to fund an amount of traffic to that account in their name, which automatically starts to give them an income. Do you realize what this means? This means you're giving somebody else the responsibility of how they use money that they're receiving. You're not just giving it to them for a one-time expenditure. You're giving it to them that it will magnify, it will increase. So please don't ask and say, and I've heard people, they've come to me and they've said, well, how is it that Ash can spend so much money out there and we still haven't been paid? Please, let's widen the scope of understanding. Please open your hearts as well to understand that this is a business. And if this was a business in one little corner store with one staff/owner with one product to sell, we wouldn't be part of it. So please respect what we have, respect who is heading this, respect the people coming in. And don't ask, what about me right now? We know now why the me has not been looked after through an outside force and situation that is beyond OnPassive. Because I can rest assured, and in my opinion, I don't think Ash was going to sit at the table with anybody speaking finances and saying, oh, well, we'll have a couple of hundred here or a couple of thousand here. I can feel confident that he sat there and laid out the volume, the potential volume of what was going to flow into them and how quickly he wanted it to flow back out again. Well, people didn't believe him. And so it seems from what he's also told us. So in return, they did their own shenanigans and they caused the hiccup and the major havoc that has caused Ash to rethink, rejig his plans. And we're going to be in for some incredible news as soon as he has been able to sort this through with the governments around the world, with the financial institutions of these governments around the world. So please feel confident. Please rest assured. Do not panic. And please do not go looking for quick fix financial returns now. I mean, we are right there. Don't go wasting your money now. If you did not purchase OConnect before January 31st with your credit card, wait. That's my opinion. If you know how to use cryptocurrency, that option may or may not still be available. Because he only said, Ash also said that crypto purchasing would be available for a little bit longer. There was no definite time frame or date given to that. I don't use cryptocurrency. I don't know if it still is or not. But please do not try and cram a course of transactions with cryptocurrency in now. Accept the fact that your choice was not to purchase for whatever reason. And that's fine. That was your choice. But you haven't lost the opportunity of being able to purchase OConnect. We will soon have new packages and we will soon have new prices. That's when you purchase. And then you're back to part of it. Andy, I know I'm going.
No, you're doing great, Robin. Thank you. I think there are a couple of things that people don't seem to have taken on board yet, and I wanted to bring these up. We all OnPassive has been doing so far is branding. We haven't set up the marketing rotator as yet. Not been done. We've just been doing branding. And how many customers have we taken on so far? 3.5, maybe 4 million. Okay, bearing in mind there were 1.4 original early birds. It's more than doubled. Now, the potential problem is that out of that 1.4, there's several thousand that have been thrown out for whatever reason, created problems, etc. And there's a lot of us early birds that had more than one account. So there should be maybe 500, maybe 600,000 early birds. But we've got 3.5 to 4 million customers, including us, are the early birds right now. And all of this has just been done from branding. Just think what's going on in Dubai. Everyone says to me, why isn't it happening in Europe? Think about this for 1 second. You've got what wants to be the Silicon Valley of the world. Dubai will be the central aspect, the central hub of the tech world moving forward. This is their goal, and they're getting there, believe me, with what's going on in Dubai at the moment. But then every single shopping mall, the Burj Khalifa has laser shows on a regular basis. We've had it on the Ferris wheel. Every single shopping mall has got OnPassive plastered here, there, and everywhere. There are billboards with us on in places like Jumeirah Beach Residence and many, many others. This is branding. This is about letting people know there's a big boy on the block. And when those floodgates do open, the world changes. Now, again, you've got to bear in mind that just the station alone sees over 700,000 people go through that station every single day. Now, the biggest coup of all of these is, the engineers that work for Huawei and Google and Amazon and Facebook and all of these companies are in what they call the DIC, Dubai Internet City. and that station is at Dubai Internet City. So all of these engineers see OnPassive, OnPassive, OnPassive in every step and everywhere around the station, and they go to work for Facebook. Let me think about that one for a minute. Now, taking that again one stage further, you've got then a holiday maker and tourist business in Dubai that is one of the best tourist destinations in the world. So there are well over 20 million people that go through Dubai every year for a holiday, and they take that information out to their country or back to their country. So if they've watched the Burj Khalifa laser show, you always see these people taking videos of what's going on. They take it back. Look at this. And the guy they take it back to America or Australia or wherever goes, this is interesting. OnPassive, what's that all about then? And as I said, once those doors open, then the floodgate is open. The business is coming. So all we have to do right now is learn as much as we possibly can about our business, because this is our business. Right, we have this opportunity that will, if you play the game and if you know what's going on, you will be very successful. So the more you learn about it, the more success will come your way. It's like golf. I practice on a regular basis, and the funny thing is, the more I practice, the luckier I get. Well, it's not luck, it's down to practice. And it's the same with your business. The more you know about it, the luckier you I'll put my teeth back in, excuse me. The luckier you will get when it comes to start to make apples or money or whatever you want to call it. So, guys, just calm. Don't worry about it. Collins, final round. Let's say what you want to do. I know.
No, sorry, I've got to jump in first. Sorry,
Yes, all right.
I've got to jump in first.
Yes.
Andy stole some of what I was about to say, but I just want to add on to that as well. I know, bad Andy. But regarding the tourism and the visits, it was just under 20 million global tourists who visited Dubai in 2023. Now, apart from that number, understand, yes, there were the individual holiday makers, absolutely. But if you do any searching about who actually goes to Dubai, what type of businesses are going to Dubai, many of the other industries are taking Dubai as their convention hub. So they are flying thousands and thousands and thousands of people in different industries to go to Dubai to hear their convention. So we're actually right there, exactly as Andy says, the marketing is there. We're not even having to travel. We don't even have to open our mouths to say anything about OnPassive. Now, 2024, Dubai has been voted the destination, the number one destination to visit in 2024. And they estimate just in the vicinity of 30 million global tourists coming in 2024. Exactly the rest of what Andy said is true. The marketing, the tabloids, not the tabloids, but the big screens, the marketing ads, the subway, the metro, all of this is going to be seen by these people from around the world. And that is the branding, that is the marketing that we don't even have to pay for. This is before we start purchasing traffic. This is before we've even opened our mouths to say anything more about a business that many people still don't believe is actually going to happen. Folks, it's happening. You cannot have such a false picture of something if you have got a subway. It's been renamed. It is proof. There are pictures, and it's not made up pictures. You've got, Lord, I've just lost. Or if you've, gone into the various malls and seen their big screens, you cannot make this up. They had film debuts over there with big stars. So, Andy, sorry, I did just have to put those numbers in because, again, we're talking numbers that people don't have on average, and it's no reflection on our inability to know. Most of us are sponges. We want this information. We want to understand what we have. And we just may simply not have experienced a lot more than our own communities or our own backyards in most of our lives. And that's wonderful, because I know the incredible work that people are going to do in those areas in and of themselves. But again, to give yourselves a context of what money is and how much money is around, you know, if you've been employed by a company, you know what your salaries have been. Work out how many years you've been there, how much money you've earned throughout your whole life. You've earned, I would think, close to $1 million, in some cases over $1 million, depending on age and occupation and salary. You've already become a millionaire. The fact that you don't have it in your account is because of life and because of the expenses you've had to pay out. But start shifting your mind, start shifting and realizing that you already have that millionaire mentality. And Ash said he wanted to attract and create 1 million Mother Teresas. Well, he's got us. He has us already. And the companies that are joining are just adding to those numbers. So again, get excited by your own life experiences and what you have generated in your life, and make that a gratitude list as well. Because if you've got children, you've got a wife, you're looking after people and family, you've paid for schoolings, you're looking after just look at what you've got in your life and start to be positive about it. Because OnPassive is going to increase that positivity. It can also take you down the rabbit hole really fast if that's the way you want to go, but there's no need to. Again, that's our personal choice, and we all have that ability to make a choice. Sorry, Andy, thank you. Collins?
No, that's fine. Robin's taken my numbers job, by the way, everyone.
Only for tourism. Only for tourism.
Yeah, well done. Collins,
Yeah.
finish us off. Give us a...
No, that was really good. Robin just said a lot of things about people being engaged, and that's what I wanted to touch. When I joined OnPassive, the first thing I did was I just telling my story, and then maybe it will inspire others. I came in because of what I know. I want to have that time and financial freedom. That was my end goal, time and financial freedom. But as day goes by, I said, okay, let me learn, because you can't just say time and financial freedom and you don't know where the time and financial freedom will come. But you need to listen to Mr. Ash Mufara, learn what OnPassive is all about. When I started learning, I said, oh my God, this is even bigger than what I thought. Time and financial freedom just disappeared. Now I started seeing what OnPassive would do now for mankind, how businesses will use the products and services to improve and give better pay raise, and a lot for a lot of companies, most companies that are struggling. So I was just imagining all of these things, in my head. I said, my God, it's bigger than what I thought, And if you are in OnPassive, you don't take this step to say, all right, I want to sit and wait until it happens. It means you've not even been OnPassive, because I don't see how you want to enjoy something you never had any idea. Let us remember that Mr. Ash Mufara built a business for all of us. He replicated OnPassive. When the time will come, that's when people really understand that it is a replication of a business. Mr. Ash Mufara have just replicated and given to as many people as possible. And they are doing everything behind. They call it webmasters, but your name, when they always say the world will know your name, not Andy, Robin, or all of the other guys, those who are standing out there, Mari Digamo, talking of Chris Jones. No, not that. The same is talking about those who are in OnPassive. When the domain will come and all of those things, build that business. That's what he's talking about. It's all done for you. The world will know your name. He's talking about replicating business for you. Now, your own effort is how much do you know about your business? Because nobody will come and run your business for you. They open a shop for you, like Peter Rogers has a shop. Don't expect Andy to abandon his shop, or Robin to abandon his shop and then close the door and say, oh, let me go and help Collins to run your business, because I need my customers to come in. I have to manage my own affair. I have to purchase my products, make sure my shelves, they are always there. Customers are coming in. I will not have time to come to you. So this is the time for you to understand OnPassive, knowing that Mr. Ash Mufara built a business and only you yourself can run that business. It is plug and play. You don't need too much. Spend time to learn it, because I always said, if we have 24 hours a day, if you cannot spend 15 minutes, at least maximum, to understand OnPassive. Honestly, I always said OnPassive is not for you. But remember, if you go out like the Apple man, I always call the Apple man, he has his own idea. He said, no, this is the way the business should go, because he was one of the co-founder. Yes, this is how the business goes. Steve Jobs said, no, we are going this way. Dish out. What happened? Today, that position worth 100 billion. A position that he sold for $800, $100 billion today. Please let us not be like the Apple man. And he said, actually, did you regret? He said, I didn't see it coming this way. So he was looking, at a different angle, not knowing that the angle where the company is going, he didn't see it. Mr. Ash Mufara is taking us to the top. He is building everything, taking pain. We are not contributing anything. We are not spending sleepless night. We are not, in short, nothing whatsoever we are doing. We just activate, wait for the company to do. But at the point which we are waiting, ask yourself, how much have I learned? We don't want to be like someone who always asks, like, give me food. Ask yourself, what are you putting in? Because your knowledge of OnPassive would determine how far you can go. When we say OnPassive is limitless, you have to go unlimited. If you cannot do it, and to go unlimited means you must understand OnPassive, and it doesn't take any effort. It is not, even my late grandmother can do it if you only show my grandmother what to do. There's some people just decide that I don't want to do anything until I see it. When you see it, remember, in your wallet, nobody will show you how to withdraw it. You'll be on your own that time. You call Robbie say, bye, I'm not there. Andy, not there. So let us take the time now to understand OnPassive. Ask yourself a lot of questions. How much do I know my business? So Andy, I'll leave it there.
Exactly. Thanks, Collins. Robin, any final comments that you'd like to make?
Yes, and I'll try and keep it short. Even my sister
take
laughed.
As long as you like, sweetheart, no problem at all.
My sister just about fell off the chair in the background laughing at that one. I'd like to bring 2 points as a closing. The first one is our own responsibility in taking charge and control of what we do. If your television set doesn't work, what do you do? If your telephone doesn't work, what do? You don't call somebody in OnPassive. You don't call your next door neighbor. You call the provider. You call the company that you've got this from. You send something through and you find out on your own, is what I'm trying to say. You don't rely on somebody else. If your car doesn't start, you don't go to the school teacher of your son or daughter. You take responsibility. You go and find out, you get it done. So in as much as the withdrawals are starting to happen, yes, there's a lot of information out there. Ash himself is telling us what to do and how to do it, when to do it. It's going to be in webinars and lives, and it will be discussed in more detail. But this is where you will need to take responsibility. Comfort, you're too funny. But this is where I know you are not going to come to me and ask me how to spend your withdrawal money. There's no way. You know exactly what you're going to do with it. So start taking that responsibility now. And that's the same attitude one should have, and mental focus on this as looking at OnPassive. So that's the one thing. The other thing I'd like to just bring forward is there are a lot of really, really interesting people in OnPassive as OnPassive affiliates. And their knowledge base and their abilities are vast. We haven't even tapped into that with people yet. We've all been very, very focused on getting to know people through the OnPassive platforms, the products, that sort of thing. But the social and the other components of who a person is, in many, many cases, has not even started to come forward. One of the things that has, however, is people with financial information or belonging to financial groups or belonging to financial companies are starting to put presentations and webinars and lives together, and they're bringing those forward, offering them to the founder affiliates. Now, first and foremost, they need to be careful doing this, that it is not another company in terms of cross-recruiting to get them to join that company, and that truly the message is coming from a learning perspective so that it is educational based, not another business opportunity based. But to remember also that Ash has said you need to go out and find out what you need to do in your own city and country to make the finances legal and work for you. So these information webinars that are starting to pop up around the world are wonderful. Attend them if you want to, even if you don't live in the location where these are being offered, and use the information that you learn from that to add to your question list when you go and talk to a legal, professional, registered financial advisor in your own city, in your own country. Do not take the word of somebody else or some other part of the world as absolute for how you need to set up or do something for your OnPassive wealth that will be coming to you. I hope that makes sense. I don't mean to step on toes, but people need to be aware that I'm going to take it from the kindness of other people's hearts of wanting to share. I'm not going to look at the other side of what the reason could be. But please, for people who are hearing and seeing these offers and these webinar links, just keep it in mind that it's information, and the questions that you might have, you need to ask, and the terminology that you learn about in these webinars, you need to make a note and hold so that you can ask those financial registered professionals in your cities. All right. Andy Collins, thank you so much. You allowed me to talk and express myself, and I don't get a chance to do that very often. And I think you two are just amazing. Thank you so much. Big hugs to both of you.
No problem.
Thank you, Robbie.
And thank you, everybody else, to being with us. And last one, sorry, Andy, because I've just seen it pop up in the chat. Please, how do we spell OnPassive? I've been saying this now for weeks and weeks and months. Capital letters, please. OnPassive is spelled capital letters. Please respect the company. Please take pride in who you represent. Thank you. I'm turning off now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I before we finish, or my final words, if you like, I want to simplify this to the best of my ability. Our very good friend Peter Rogers owns a convenience store, and he puts things on his shelf in the convenience store, and it costs him a fortune every month to fill those shelves because things go. He has to rebuy stock. Now, the property, he had to purchase the property. He had to add that stock. So you're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars or whatever you want to call it. And to run that business, there is a profit that he makes. Now, I'm not saying he makes an absolute fortune, but he makes a very good living out of it because otherwise he wouldn't do it. We have a system which is simplified. I don't have to buy property. I buy the product and put it into my online store, my online shop. And if it's bought more than once in a month, I don't have to replenish that stock. I just do it once a month, but it could be bought 10, 15, 20 times that month. Now, the more products that we get that will come into our store, the more we add to, the more we have for somebody who's looking for things, that's coming into the shop to browse. Now, this is simplified, guys. This is absolutely simplified. Now, we know that that profit center is a good profit center from the point of view that the company is paying out a huge amount of the revenue that's coming in a commission. So over time, and no disrespect to Peter, and I don't wish this to sound wrong, but over time, my income from this business could be far higher than his shop. But have I spent hundreds of thousands setting my shop up? No, I haven't. what I did was I put $97 in 4 years ago, or 5 years ago. And by the way, that was given back to me. So when the cost of O Connect came out, it was $375 for 3 months. Did I pay that? No, I didn't, because 97 had come back. I also had 1 free month. Well, I haven't. I've had 10, right? 10 months. And for some of them, for me, I paid as soon as I possibly could. So it actually cost me $143 for 3 months. But it's not, it's 10. For some, it was slightly less than that. And for some of those new customers coming on board, it was slightly more than that. But bottom line is, there is a product that we have which is second to none in the marketplace today. We know that for a fact. We have already had over 82,000 on a call. We know the nearest closest rival maxes out at 20, but by the way, if you've got 15,000 or more on, you get kicked out. Tough, right? So things are going to change. Now we have the most simplified business system on the planet, from what I can gather and I can determine. And I wish I was 18 again and understood this business, because I know where this is going to go, and I'm so grateful for being part of it. So learn as much as you can, guys. Be helpful to others. Make sure they understand what's happening as well, because there are so many people that are not engaged with what's going on, and that is a real shame. Now, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And I'm a great believer in, and Comfort will love this phrase, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So please, guys, do your bit. All right, thank you so much for joining us today, Robin. I really appreciate that. Glad you could do that. And thank you guys for coming along. Please join us next week. And who knows, we may have another mystery guest, another brainiac, but I very much doubt that, because there's only one brainiac in the company. That's Robin. Yay.
Thank you, guys. It's been wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye.
Thank you.